Okay, and we have confirmation we just passed waypoint 0. The service section Draco thrusters fired to converge with the approach maneuver to meet up with waypoint 1. That'll be directly in front of the International Space Station. So now we're making our way now, not officially behind the station, making our way in front of the station.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop. Approach 0 is in progress and the trajectory has converged on waypoint 1. Expected arrival at waypoint 1 at 0845.
At waypoint 1, thanks.
And as expected, as we pass waypoint 1, we're starting to get some of the sun illuminating the station. Hopefully we'll still continue to get some of these views from the cabin and from the exterior of the Dragon looking up at the International Space Station as we pass into an orbital sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. Now 261 statute miles over the Caribbean. Again, we passed waypoint 0 and initiated an approach maneuver, approach 0, firing Dragon's service section Dracos to align and converge with waypoint 1 being directly in front of the International Space Station from this view. It's at the top of your view. That's where the International Docking Adapter is. You can sort of make it out now that the sun is illuminating the station itself. So that approach maneuver was successful, and Dragon itself converged onto waypoint 1. We did get a word from the ground teams here that the intent is to proceed past waypoint 1. So once it's directly 220 meters in front of the International Space Station, it will not pause. It will continue to move in. Inside the keep-out sphere, which is about 180 meters away from the station, and it will continue on to waypoint 2 at 20 meters. At 20 meters, it will pause and conduct a go, no-go poll to proceed past the waypoint 2 and in for a soft capture. Soft capture estimated less than 50 minutes from now at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time.
We have the sun shining very bright on the International Space Station right there. As we are entering sunrise, as Gary mentioned. Again, this is a view from Crew Dragon as it's approaching the International Space Station. And it is moving from below the station or between towards being adjacent or in front of the station.
So hopefully continue to get these views for as long as possible. They are absolutely incredible. And then, of course, we have cameras on the International Space Station itself that'll be able to look at Dragon as it approaches the docking axis a little closer. Actually, yeah, we're getting some views even now as the Dragon's underneath and in front of the station. So we're expecting to converge on waypoint 1. Dragon, you're seeing from this view here, will make its way into the docking axis directly in front of the International Space Station. That whole maneuver expected to take about 21 minutes from now. And again, the plan will be to, as of now, will be to proceed past waypoint 1 and pause at waypoint 2. Take about 21 minutes from now. And again, the plan will be to, as of now, will be to proceed past waypoint 1 and pause at waypoint 2 about 20 meters.
ISS がドラゴン側から見た ISS が見えてますね。
So as Dragon makes this maneuver, you were seeing mostly the nadir side or the side of the International Space Station that faces the Earth. Now as we swing up and So as Dragon makes this maneuver, you were seeing mostly the nadir side or
なんか
the
音がダブ
side
っ
of
て
the
ますよ
International
ねこれ
Space Station that faces the Earth. Now, as we swing up in front of the station, you're starting to see more features,
どっち
including
の
some of
映
the
像を見てる
solar
のか分からな
arrays.
かっ
Each
た
of those arrays about the size of a basketball court, including communications and navigation. And those arrays will provide enough power for all of the equipment on board the International Space Station, including communications and navigation, and environmental control and life support equipment, as well as hundreds of experiments throughout the orbiting laboratory. Once Dragon docks to the International Space Station, an umbilical will be provided by
ISS は
the
本当
space
巨大な
station
ので
to provide power from those solar arrays to Dragon.
ほとんどが
throughout a
太
6-month stay
陽
aboard.
光パネルが占めているんですが
Gary, you're mentioning the size of some of the components on the space station, but the space station altogether, what we're looking at here is approximately the size of a football field, right?
That's right.
だいぶ
Oh,
近づいてはきて
fantastic
ますね
views from the International Space Station. You can see very clearly the Terminator line. So that's the line between light and dark now. That's over the North Atlantic Ocean. The International Space Station on a northeasterly course.
いや仕事も早くや
It
めたい
will
っす
cross over Great Britain when it gets over the Atlantic Ocean, over the pond to Europe. It will first cross over Great Britain.
っていうか棒読みちゃんが読んでませんよねさっきまで読んでたのなんで読んでないあそうか音
Again,
消してあ
more
りました
awesome views from the International Space Station, looking at Dragon with Earth in the background there. And Dragon is currently swinging up
かなり
to become
軌道を変えてきてるの
adjacent
が分かり
to
ま
the
すね
space
スラスターが
station, and it will be moving to be right in front of the docking port.
ドラゴ
Right,
ン
I just
アイが
passed
キラキラ
the
光っています
marker waypoint 0. That waypoint being directly below the International Space Station, where it executed an approach burn using the service section Dracos. That helped it to converge with that next waypoint right in front of the station. So now we're at a little more than
昨日切りっぱなしにしてあ
310
ったの
meters
忘れてました
away from the station. As it makes its way up front, it will continue to get slightly closer. Waypoint 1 directly in front of the station is about 220 meters. So it'll get incrementally closer as it makes its way in front of the station.
And these views from the space station look
そうですね
incredible. I
かっ
can
こいい
only
んですよね
imagine what the astronauts on board the station get to see with their own eyes. That looks amazing.
They had a lot of time in orbit. Of course, after an orbital insertion, about 9 minutes into the flight,
でも
and
飛
then
行機雲
spacecraft
が
separation from the Falcon 9 that delivered
結構
Dragon
見え
into
てますよ
orbit
ね
12 minutes into the flight. For the most part, up until this point, they've been flying around the Earth. Had a couple of laps, couple of sunrises, and have been able to enjoy these views. Of course, there's a sleep period as well.
And now you can kind of see how Dragon is swinging up to be in front of the station, because now you can see a portion of the space station in the view.
That's right, these cameras on the truss segment of the International Space Station, so these cameras likely on the nadir side of the truss segment. As station makes its way up, as Dragon makes its way up to align with the docking axis, we may lose some of the views here, but there are cameras on the forward end of the International Space Station. They'll be
野
able
口
to
さ
pick
ん
up
す
Dragon
ごいな
as it makes its way to align with the docking axis. Those cameras pointed straight ahead to monitor the operations just like this for the approach and docking of visiting vehicles.
なんでそんな動画上げられるんでしょうねいや地上の人が編集してるんじゃないんですか
Teams will continue to evaluate the progress of Dragon's approach, making sure that all systems are go for approach and docking. Right now, we're still tracking a docking time at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time. That'll be 40 minutes from now.
あと50分でドッキングですね。
And so this will be the last pass over daylight. So for the remainder of our coverage until docking, as long as we proceed through these steps nominally, we should be able to see everything in an orbital daytime.
そうなんですか。だいぶ近づいてきましたね。
Just as a reminder, after Dragon docks with the station, it will take a little over an hour and a half to 2 hours for the hatches to open and for
野口さん勝手にやってるっていう
onto the
テーマ。
space station. And this is another cool view from the, I believe this is the forward side of the International Space Station.
That's right, and those cameras on the truss segment,
す
on
ごい
the
光景ですよね。
port truss of the International Space Station, what you're seeing, the features there are the Japanese robotic arm and the Japanese logistics model sticking up at the top of the Japanese experiment module that houses many of the
最近
experiments
の
on
iPad
board
すごいですからね。
the International Space Station from the Japanese side. There's also an exposed pallet there. There it is at the bottom of your screen with additional experiments.
iPad 性能すごいですからね。
You can sort of see the Dragon out there in the distance, the cloud coverage over the North Atlantic Ocean as the Dragon makes its way up to the docking axis. ゆっくり近づいてきてます。あと50分、6時10分ぐらいにドッキング予定なので、ここからはじりじり、はい、こんにちは、来る感じですね。 Dragon's about 307 meters away.
アップルがスポンサーになってたりするんですかね。
The plan now is to proceed past waypoint 1. Waypoint 1 being 220 meters directly in front of the International Space Station, right in line with the docking axis. When it starts to move in, it'll pass into the keep out sphere. This is an imaginary line, extends about 180, 185 meters directly in front of the station. And there's new flight rules that come into play when Dragon makes its way inside the keep out sphere. Victor Glover, who's monitoring from the station side, if he sees any anomaly with his data, has the ability to command an abort from the station side. But of course, an abort can be issued from inside Dragon as well, or from the ground. And of course, Dragon, once it reaches the docking axis, has about 20 hours of power, so it can hold there for quite some time and can reattempt to dock as necessary. But so far, things are looking pretty good for today, as we're tracking for a docking at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time.
気がつくと近づいてきてますね。
Again, a really cool view from the International Space Station, looking at Dragon as it gets closer and closer. It's currently swinging up to be in front of the docking axis, which will mean that Dragon will be...
Dragon SpaceX for approach 1 status.
SpaceX.
All right, Shane, we are currently tracking the sun's relative position and how that is impacting our ability to monitor the retroreflectors with the Dragon eyes. We are going to make an assessment at approximately 110 meters to see if the
何が見え
sun's
てるんです
position
か？アマゾン
will
川が見えてるんで
impact
す
the
か？
Dragon Eye convergence. If we deem that it might impact Dragon Eye convergence, ground is going to command a hold.
はい、こん
However,
ばん
if
は。
at 110 meters, it is early enough where this will not be an issue. It will not impact approach 1, and Dragon will continue to waypoint 2.
これ
Don't
P
test at all. Thanks.
これ P 音が違うってことは
Okay, so what you just heard from there, first
完
of all,
成の音
down
声は
on the Earth, these
SpaceX
beautiful shots, the
がやっ
International
てるって
Space
ことです
Station
よ
is
ね。
just passing over Ireland. The body you see there is the United Kingdom. We're passing over Europe, and we're about to pass over the Netherlands and Germany as well. The calls you heard as we pass
今わかり
over
ませんけど、
uh,
今どこら辺が見えてるんですかね。
these parts of Europe, the sun itself will come up
ヨーロッパで
and
って言って
behind
ま
the
したけど、
International Space Station.
どこだかちょっと聞き逃しました。
1.104 Crew Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copies and work.
All right, and that was Kathy Bolt, Capcom and Mission Control Houston. Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station, confirming he's standing by, monitoring Dragon's
カメラが
approach.
揺れている。
So he'll be looking at the same telemetry that the ground teams are and the crew aboard Dragon as well. Now, the call you heard from the core was once Dragon makes
完
its way
成はこれ
past waypoint
SpaceX が
1,
やってる
220
んでしょう
meters
ね。
in front of the station.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop.
NASA の
Expect
と P 音が違
reconfiguration
う
of the C2V2 return link shortly.
今ヨーロッパ上空
Never copy.
アマゾンなら翌日
All right, so
配
once Dragon makes its way inside
翌日配達
waypoint
ですよ、
1,
こっ
the
ちも。こっちも。
220 meter mark crosses into the keep out sphere. The ground teams will do an assessment at about 110 meters. See the position of the sun. The sun might be a little bit too far behind the space station at
イ
the
ギリスです
time
か？
and interfere with some of the optical cameras, the optical equipment, navigation equipment, the Dragon Eyes. So they'll do an assessment and may issue a hold if necessary, depending on the position of the sun and how they're interfering or how they affect the Dragon Eyes. Also, they're going to check the C2V2 common
まあ、十分お
communication
金
for
もらって
visiting
ますから
vehicles.
ね。
There's a link between the two spacecraft now. There's a C2V2 on Dragon and also on the International Space Station that provides telemetry. A lot of that telemetry is what Victor Glover aboard the station is monitoring using his rendezvous proximity operations panel.
イギリスのあたりまで回ることあるんですかね。で今海域のあたりかじゃあ。
So all this coming up very soon. Dragon inside 300 meters, 284 and closing. Again, 220 meters is the point where we meet up with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station that's expected to come up in a little less than 7 minutes.
使えるお金が段違い確か長者番付にくらいのイーロン・マスクこんにちは
はい、こんにちは。
Still getting great views. Those cameras trained, of course, on the star of today's show, the Crew Dragon. But we're still getting some glimpses of the Earth right underneath the station, 265 statute miles directly over Frankfurt, Germany, passing over Eastern Europe, and eventually we'll cross over the Black Sea.
昨日 NASA と ESA と Jaxa とイーロンが合同会見してたけど質問が 100% イーロンに対しての質問出たの宇宙機関完全に存在感消えてて草生えた
まあそうなりますよね。
速報スペース X 社日本の YouTuber これ監視に買収されるかこんにちは今日もお邪魔します
はい、こんにちは。全くお金ありません。 じりじり気がつくと近づいてきてるっていうような感じですね。ドラゴンの目がチカチカ光っています。
270 meters and closing.
こっちの宇宙飛行士はもう完全に魂が抜けきっているような。
Converge with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station in less than 5 minutes.
あと30分ですね。
You can see the views right over the shoulders of Commander Shane Kimbrough and pilot Megan MacArthur. Kimbrough on the left, MacArthur on the right from that view.
そうですね。
From this view from the International Space Station, you can see what we were mentioning earlier, where Dragon was below the station. You could see that previously when it had Earth in the background. Now it is almost adjacent, or almost in the same orbit as the International Space Station.
ドッキングあと30分ぐらいかかりますね。まだ
Docking access.
予定では6時10分です。まあイーロンは今もうポップスター扱いですからね。ガガ様より下手すると人気あるんじゃねえかっていう。
Now this maneuver from below the station to in front of the docking port is almost complete.
基本全自動なんですけど、
Getting great views from all around, from the station side, from the Dragon side.
今日材料買い込んで
The
きてし
station
ま
you see on the displays inside Crew Dragon is in line with the position of where Dragon is relative
う。はい。
to the International Space Station. It's almost at the docking axis, about 2.5 minutes to go until it converges with waypoint 1.
And as a reminder, Dragon is
だいぶ
flying
近づいてきてます
autonomously,
ね。
so
ほぼも
they
うドラゴ
aren't
ンの
using
全
those
容がわか
display
るように。
panels to fly Dragon. They're just using them to monitor each step of the way.
これレーザー同
Basically
調
just
装置なんで
patiently
したっけ？
waiting until they dock with the station.
昨日の打ち上げから飛行士の方派
Now seeing Dragon in a better view, a lot more clear
いや
now that it's
多分一
only
回脱げると思うん
240
ですけど、ね、
meters away.
本自動なんです
You
ね
can see the nose cone clearly deployed, extended
今チカチカ光
towards
って
the
るじゃないですか。
space-facing side or zenith
あ
side.
と25分くらいみたいだね
A really good zoomed in
チ
view,
カチカ
and you
光ってる
could
ので場所を
almost
探っ
make
て
out
い
those
ますね。
four bulkhead thrusters
深夜に中でぐるぐる遊
on
んでたよう
the
な
forward portion of the Dragon capsule.
There you go. The Cronus is adjusting the aperture of the station cameras.
あと25分
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Approach 1 and soft capture ring extension will begin shortly.
会見の様子
Dragon will continue to
様子で
waypoint
やってます
2
よ
with the additional lighting assessment occurring at 110 meters as previously noted. For awareness, if sunlight results in the loss of the Dragonite geofilters, Dragon will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, remaining on closed loop control using the time of flight
あ
filters.
の中
I'll
に4
copy.
人入ってるんですからね。
近く見えるけど距離はどのくらいなのかな
どのくらいなんですかね。
We are in a handover period, so we may have missed a call as we were switching from Tedra's satellites We're looking at about 20 seconds to go until we converge with waypoint 1. There's going to be an approach burn maneuver using the Draco thrusters. It's called approach 1. And that'll move Dragon from right in front of the docking axis 220 meters away and start moving in, closing in
まああらかじめ
to
狙
waypoint 2,
って
just 20 meters away
飛
from
ば
the
さないと
docking
ドッキング
axis.
はで
Of
きません
course,
けどね。
they'll be monitoring along the way.
CG みたいに見える。
We did hear the Corps mention that they are going to have a checkpoint to make sure that there isn't too much sunlight on the
で
space
も
station,
このくらいの軌道だ
which
と
will
最
prevent
悪
Dragon from docking. If that does happen, Dragon will
だんだん
autonomously
大きくな
back
りますね。
out
秒速 14km ぐらいで衝突する可能性があるので、
to ensure a good docking with the space
19
station.
時間マイルプのやつが
Because
体
this is
験
all
の動画か
autonomous,
な。
it uses some visual cameras to align with the docking port. So it's really important that we don't have that sunlight getting in the way.
ですね、ま
空気がないからはっきりしてるので CG 棒ですね。
あ光学カメラを使
SpaceX has
っ
you loud and clear on the
て
big loop. How
そ
many?
のアライメントを取るので、
民間企
太陽
業が
光
全部やってる初めて
の
の
方向は非常に重要だというこ
Your
とで
last
すね。
call, we copied most of it, but you cut out towards the end there. I'm not sure if there's anything important for us.
野口さんとご
Copy.
対
I'm
面
going to
ワクワク
repeat the end of the call. We did have a tedious handover.
そうで
Just
すね。
for
今日8オ
awareness,
ープンもやりますので、
following the lighting assessment, if we continue but sunlight results in a loss of the Dragon Eye geo filters, Dragon Eye will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, still on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Okay, we copied all. Thank you very much for repeating.
No problem, Shane. And for awareness, the C2V2 link reconfiguration has been
アメリ
completed.
カの宇宙船だとこのクルードラゴンの前がスペースシャトル。長い時間がかかったよね。
C2V2 complete.
そうですね。まあ、
Yeah,
私
the
が宇
Corps
宙
just
コムでやってる間はずっと
reiterated,
ソユーズでした
that
か
they
ら。
will be checking to make sure that the sunlight is not in the way of the visual systems between Dragon and the space station. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously
8 オー
retract
プン派何時くらいで
and
す
wait
か？
8オープン、
until we
もう
do
だいぶ近づいてきました
get
ね。
some
これ今
good
ドラゴンからの
visual
見た映像で
views
すが。
for these systems to dock with each other. So
That's right. Crew Dragon resilience actually coming into view a little bit
Becky
clearer
na.
now from the cameras aboard Dragon. Docked to the
二分
zenith
セン
port.
サアライメント。
はい
that was on the upper portion of the
アームを使
screen.
う時も使ってますけど、
Now again, to reiterate, Dragon
逆光にな
has
っちゃうと
passed
ちょっとまずい
waypoint
という
1,
ことで。
220 meters in front of the station. Executed a burn maneuver to go ahead and move in. So we're in approach 1. And it's heading towards waypoint 2. Now inside the keep out
発解
sphere.
放波同日午後8時
It's currently in
15
the
分。
process of extending its
8時15分
soft
ですか。
capture ring that'll be used to dock to the international docking adapter of the forward port.
野口さ
We're
んのピアノ
monitoring the
素敵
visual
でした
systems
ね。
of Dragon. It would execute an automatic retreat if the sun was interfering with the optical systems as it makes its way towards an approach.
稼いで25日
We're at about 150 meters away
3
from the station.
この映像も見たいな。
We have
もっと
such
CG
a
感なく
great
してほしい。
camera view
クレ
here.
ー
You
ム
can really see
あ
the
りがとうござい
detail
ます。
なんかほ
on
んと
Dragon.
CG 感満載
Again,
で
those four
丸 C ですよ
bulkhead
ね。
thrusters. You could almost read the logo, the Dragon logo on the side of the vehicle.
That's right. We'll get even better views as it makes its way even closer to make contact and
航
capture
空機の材
with the
質で
space
宇宙
station.
船作ったみたいな外観
There
だ
it
よね。
is.
あり
Yeah,
がとう。
based on the trajectory
8時
here,
過ぎからで
we
す
may even
ね。
anticipate a capture a little bit earlier than
ステーシ
anticipating.
ョ
We
ンの
were
気圧合わせと
looking
か
at
する
about
のかな。
210.
そうですね。気圧の調整は多分入ると思いますが、
It might be at maybe closer to
結構それが時間かかるんですよ
207.
ね。
こんばんは。連日の配信お疲れ様です。
はい、こんばんは。 まあ両方に人がいるのでゆっくり気圧調整しないと。
外見も CG だけど船内もスフ映画すぎる。わら。
先に野口さんが乗ってきたドラゴンくっついてますね。
離れてくー。わらわら。
The features of the space station coming into view very clearly.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the detail there. And as you mentioned, the Crew 1 Dragon.
SpaceX station on the big loop. Procedure review
はい、
complete.
こん
Ready
ば
for
んは。
docking.
Houston copies.
All right, that was confirmation from Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station. From the space station side, he is go for docking. The soft capture ring itself is fully extended. We're 115 meters in closing.
ソユーズ宇宙船のデザインと比べると1世紀くらい違う感あるよね。
まあでも形は似てますけど、ね、今真正面に丸い点があるじゃないですか。
Looking at your screen, the port that we are going to be docking with is directly in the middle of the screen, that circular area on the International Space Station.
いや、NASA の NASA TV はパブリックドメインなので誰がどう使おうと
ドッキングのライブなんてすごい。
問題ないです。
クレウ1もしっかり中央に見えている。こんばんは。
Station Houston on 2 for Ike regarding SSC 17 and D2DM. We are seeing some
星出さんは
strange configurations on the video, and we would like to
画
close
面
and
ではわから
restart
ない
that.
けど、
We
デ
can
ブリ
take
と
care of
か
that from
怖
the
いです
ground
よね。
if you would like.
あと100メートル。
ゆっ
こんばんは。
くり調整してるの分かりますね。
メンタル
はい、こんばんは。
Absolutely. If you're seeing nominal, that works for us.
Okay, so Victor Glover aboard the station
8
still has
分まで配信していただけるのでしょうか。
いえ、多分
Dragon
一旦
SpaceX
切ると思
soft
います。
capture ring extension is complete. Additionally, we did beat the sunlight for the Dragon Eye filters, so we are not going to command a hold.
今正面に丸が見えてると思うんですけど、そこにくっつく感じになりますよね。
よく考えたら ISS に民間宇宙企業の宇宙船が2機もいることになるの
All
か。
right, so that's great news. We passed the 110-meter checkpoint that the ground operators were referencing, making sure the sun wasn't interfering with the optical sensors, the Dragon Eye, that are part of the guidance and navigation and control system aboard Dragon. We passed that check mark. We're good to go. We beat the sun there. So we're now inside 80 meters and closing. Dragon will pause at 20 meters. That's designated as waypoint 2 to conduct a go, no-go poll for the readiness on both the Dragon side and the International Space Station side, making sure everyone is good for docking. If we are go, we expect to dock during this pass over an orbital
画面
daytime,
に映っている物体の大きさはラグビー競技場と同じ大
expected
き
in less
さ。
than 20
花子
minutes.
さん、こんばんは。サッカー競技場、ラグビー競技場。
もうすごい勢いで、ちょっとずつもうドラゴンのロゴまで
ドキドキ
見えますよね。
ワクワク。もう少しだ。頑張れ。
Some of the features there, you can see a lot of the visiting vehicles on board
メ
station
ン
at
タ
the
ロウ
bottom
さんこん。
is a Russian Soyuz vehicle that delivered crew to the International Space Station.
花子さん、それは大きいですね。
Just in front of
か
that,
なり激しく
or actually above that is the Crew Dragon Resilience, docked to the Zenith port.
アライメントは取りながら
Once
近
Crew
づいてい
Dragon
る
Endeavor
のが分
arrives,
か
there
り
will
ま
be
す。
2 Crew
も
Dragons
しかして
attached to
今
the
か
space
らつ
station.
ながるところか。
そうですね、今からドッキングです。
And this view from Crew Dragon looking at the International Space Station, it looks like it's this very slow and steady movement, but in reality they're moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
The rendezvous operations are
これ
absolutely
からドッキン
incredible.
グです。
You can sort of see the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft as well, some of the ultraflex solar arrays coming into view a little bit clearly.
まだですよ。
今からですね。
And again, you can see that Crew 1 Dragon vehicle on the top of your screen.
体速度差どのくらいなんだろう。
Once Crew
右側が
2
希望。いよいよ。
docks to the International Space Station, we will have
予
two
定ではあと
Crew
15分ぐらいなんで
Dragons
すけど、
docked at the same time for the first time.
That view right there was truly a representation
ちょっと
truly
前
of
倒しかもしれま
international
せん。
cooperation there. The US built Node 2 is where the Dragon will be docking today.
SS は受けキャラなんで。
It was flanked by the European Columbus module and the Japanese Gem.
We're on the big loop by this down.
SpaceX copies. Visors are down. We may enter into a hold at waypoint 2. We are still awaiting ground go for final approach.
相当秒速5センチメートルぐらいで
Never copies.
あともう少し。来たー。
The detail of this camera view is pretty incredible. Here from the International Space Station, watching Crew Dragon as it is slowly approaching.
ニコニコ。来た来た来た。止まってそうに見えるけどすげえ速さで動いてるんだろうな。近い近い。うわー近づいてきた。背後に地球が見えますね。ブレーキ派？
まあ最後にちょっとブレーキかけるかもしれませんけど、まあ本当にドッキングの瞬間は秒速5センチメートルぐらいで。
してみてます。お土産何持っていったんだろうか。
It's at about 20 meters right in front of
こ
the
こから
docking
が時間
post.
かかるんですよね。
向こうでもやろうかな。ブレーキ派ないと思います。
And if you're just now joining us, we are just waiting for a confirmation for go for docking.
わーかっこいい。
Currently holding Dragon at waypoint 2.
秒速5センチ。
And again, it looks like Dragon is just paused and not even moving. But again, as we just mentioned, both the space station and Crew Dragon are actually moving at approximately 17,500 miles per hour.
お疲れ様
So
で
it's
す。
pretty incredible how
Hi,
they
Dom.
can hold these speeds so that it looks like they are just completely paused.
すげえ。
That's right. Teams on the ground, both from the
宇宙飛行士になりたいです。
station
今ちょっ
side,
と
the
止ま
Mission
った
Control
かも。
Houston and Mission Control
どう
Hawthorne,
しているのでしょう。
just checking and verifying all systems are go to proceed with docking.
少差減速できません。すごいですね。
And when we do begin docking, there will be two portions of this. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture. The soft capture will be a soft capture ring that basically just connects the Crew Dragon to the space station to enable the hard capture, which will be 12 hooks that will
今
attach
出るまでが時間かかるの
Dragon
よ
to
ね。
the station.
ドッキング派主導。
まあここが非常にクリティカルな部分なので、
Again, we're standing by the
ここま
International
で来
Space
て
Station, flying
ドリフ
over
状態になると
the
非
Indian
常に
Ocean
まずいの
now,
で。
本当派好みを
just
みん
south
な
of
はず
the
だったんだ
Indian
よ
border.
ね。 キャッチブハマグネットなんだろうか。どんどん近づいてきてい
Heading
る。
on a
全自動の
southeasterly
誘導
course
とドッキングですよ。
just south
最後
of
はロボットアームで捕ま
Australia
えるんです
and
か？
should
いえ
cross over the
動いて
terminator
ます
line
ね。
into
アー
the
ムは
Pacific
使わな
Ocean
いはずですね。
into an orbital nighttime.
全自動ですね。
もう直接ドッキングです。
The expectation is
小
for
さい
Dragon
誘
to
導員
depart
のおっ
here
さんがサイ
from
リウム振っ
waypoint
てます。
2 and proceed on with docking ahead of orbital nighttime to beat the sun.
自動でドッキングします。自動。
まあ、むしろ手動の方が難しいんじゃないでしょうかね。今となっては。ただソユーズの場合は手動でやることありますけど。
ソユーズ時代をずっと見てきたこれカンさんから見てこの船
You
ど
can
う
see this
思う？
camera moving around.
まあ
Again,
そういうっ
this
ぽいですよ。
is controlled from the ground from Mission Control Houston. And they're maneuvering this camera around so we can just get a more detailed view of the Crew 2 Dragon Endeavour patiently waiting,
そうなんですよ。
docking
サイ
to
ズ
the
感がいまいちわかんないですよ
International
ね。
Space Station.
ソユーズより一回り大きいはずなんですけど。
About to dock to the forward end of the International Space Station for the second time.
And Station and Endeavour on the big loop. Ike, we are not able to recover that video for the D2DM, so you can close that window, and we should be ready to press into final approach shortly.
ただこのアメリカ側のこのハッチのサイズがちっちゃく見えるんで、相当やっぱりソユーズよりはでかいですよね。
You did hear that call out speak out to Ike. Ike is actually referring to Victor Glover. That is just his nickname.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ground is now go for final approach.
あ、今 GO 出ました。
Confirmation of crew readiness for final approach.
ほぼアライメント取れたようなんで。
The approach. Please confirm crew readiness. And a reminder, once Dragon is inside the crew hands-off point, retreat and breakout are no longer
ここ
permitted.
からドッキング開始です。ね、ビビりますよね。
Is ready for final approach.
7人乗り宇宙船だもんね。丸い羽生えてるみたい。ここで指ツンツンしたらどうなるんやろ。
指ツンツンしたら
And
そ
got
れ
some
で宇
good
宙がやばい
words
ことに。
that the crew is ready for the docking to the International Space Station. They no longer will have control of any aborts. If there is an abort needed, it will have to be done by the Dragon
Station
autonomously.
Houston on the big loop. Monitor per steps 3 and 4 and 1.104.
ドッキング開始。
Station copy.
ファイナルアプローチ。どの上空？
Again, we
今
are
どの辺ですかね。もう中国の方まで行っちゃってるかな。
which is the crew hands-off point. As I was mentioning earlier, if there is an abort, it will need to be done autonomously by Dragon.
Alright, we did get confirmation. Approach 2 has been initiated. So Dragon now making its way inside the 20-meter hold point at about 18 meters and closing. Final approach of Endeavour to dock with the International Space Station has started. Docking expected in about 3.5 minutes from now.
うわ、えらい勢いで近づいてきてるな。早いですね。もうアライメント取れてるんで、あとはブスッといくだけな感じだ。結構な勢いで来るな。
こういう時はメーターで距離言うんですね。
You can see on your screen as Crew Dragon slowly approaches towards that port for docking.
ハッチが斜めになってるのはパラ
We're
シュートの
13
関係
meters
じゃないで
and
すかね。
closing, making a slow and methodical approach to the docking port. That's on the forward end of the International Space Station, that international docking adapter where Crew Dragon Endeavour has docked once before.
わあ、もうすごいな。近い近い。
いいね。忘れてたからポチッとしてきました。
ありがとうございます。
スペース X 派やポン反対派。振動あるのかな？はや。大事なとこ見えんね。
Copy 10 meters.
インド洋上空。
What that call out was Crew Dragon is just 10 meters away from the International Space Station as it continues its approach for docking.
もうちょい。
うわー、来てるなー。早いっすね。早いな。通常の3倍か。
Again, docking will occur in 2 phases. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture. And what that hard capture means is 12 physical hooks will connect
そうですね、8キロ弱
the Dragon
なん
to
で
the space station.
時速換算は
Where it
各自で
views
お願い
Dragon
します。
just 6 meters away as the station and Dragon fly in tandem 263 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean in the background.
5 meters.
あと
We're
5メート
5
ルです。
meters and closing.
早い。
Copy 5
アライ
meters.
メントとドッキングの時間自動化でむっちゃ速くなってるんね。このままドッキングか。
もうくっつきますね。
すごいですね。そろそろ700人です。早い。野口さんはこれに乗って帰るのかな？
いや、野口さんは野口さんが乗ってきたやつで帰りますね。
ちょい左ピ。
You can really start to see the detail on Dragon there as it is closing in on
あ、ちょっ
docking.
と時間かかりますね。
That's right, 2.5 meters, 30 seconds. Crew hands off point was called out.
地球きれい。
ああ、もうドッキングだな。
ドッキングのソフトキャプチャー ISS
ドックナウ
の影皆様の用意をもうちょっと頑張れ。
早いですね、これ。結構早いな。ガチッといきそうですね。
目玉親父来た。
はい、ハマりました。
お早くステーションに行きたいだろう
Dragon,
な。
SpaceX on the big loop. Soft capture confirmed.
やべちょいずれてた。
今
い、けるかな。うお
もう今接触しましたね。
野口さんがクルー1の宇宙飛行士らは
Great
5月
news
期
with
間
that
予
call out.
定で
That
す。
soft capture is confirmed.
あとはラッチ
オー
が
ライオーライ
That's right, that saw
かかる
capture
のを
time
待つだけで
2:08
スピーガン
a.m. Pacific time,
ドッキン
4:08
グ成功
a.m. Eastern.
連結
Station and Dragon connected 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean. Endeavour connected to International Space Station for the second time.
南インド洋上空でドッキングです。
There are still a few steps to complete before Dragon is securely attached.
Dragon, SpaceX on the big loop. Soft capture ring retraction in progress.
野口氏は5月地球期間
That's good. The ring retraction is happening.
ドッキング
あ、くっつき
Ring
ました
retraction
ね。
happening as expected.
おめでとうございますやったー
And after the ring retracts,
おめでとう
ハッチ
12
が
hooks will latch 6 at
開く
a
のは
time
8時
to
ぐらいって
perform
いう
hard
ことなん
capture
で、
ハードキャ
and will
プチャ
officially
完了
mate
手汗かいた
Dragon to the International Space
お
Station.
めでとうございます着いたなんとか地球の影に入る前にドッキン
Got
グで
this
きま
really
したね
awesome
ド
view
ッ
of
キングおめで
Dragon
とう大きさ考えると結構なスピードで
as it is
突っ込んだよね
connected to
よかっ
the
た
port currently
すごい
making progress on hard capture.
1080p で見られる時代最高おめっとさんこんにちは連結開始気圧合わせ開始お腹空いてんのかなすごいの見たおめでとう
まあ、この後ハッチオープンは8時ぐらいからという
隊
こと
員
なので、
出てくるまでどれくらいかかるのですかはてな。おめでとうございます。
お召し替えタイムが入りますので。
初見です。
はい、こんにちは。ぜひチャンネル登録よろしくお願いいたします。
入室派1時間後 ISS に乗り込むには
Soft
時間
capture
かか
ring
るの
retraction
か
does
な。
take
す
some
ごい時
time.
代だな。
It is continuing at its anticipated speed. Things are looking good. Again, this is the first in a series of steps to officially mate Dragon to the station.
これ誰かが操縦してるんですか？
いえ、基本的には自動操縦ですね。
おめでとうございます。
まあ、最悪人ができるようにもなってるとは思うんですが。
素晴らしい。結構かかるね。ふう。合流までしばらく時間かかるよね。楽しみ。
楽しみですね。
中継解説ありがとうございます。お召し替え時間もあるんですね。
はい。
ルッキング。
多分入ってくる時点ではもう
If you're just
宇宙
joining
服
us,
は脱い
remember
でる
call
と思いま
out
すの
for
で。
soft capture confirmed at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern time.
素晴らしい技術に夢を感じます。
Station and Dragon were 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean
でもあれで
at
す
the
ね、
time of
特に
contact and capture.
ここら
We're
辺は
still
目
in the
新し
process
い
of
技術
retracting the
じ
soft
ゃないんです
capture
よね。
ring and anticipating proceeding with
このハ
the
ッ
hard
チ
capture sequence.
の機構
where 12 hooks
は
will
昔
drive
からあ
to
る
officially
機
mate
構なの
Dragon
で
with the International Space Station's international docking adapter at the forward port. Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to that forward port for the second
ジョ
time.
イ中座。
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
今 ISS 派オーストラリアの南です。
Endeavor copies off.
ここにゾゾトーンの人も行くの？野口さんとのツーショットを早く見たい。星出さんと野口さん2人で実験するのかな？
まあ2人ともベテランですからね。
ドッキング機構以外は全部フルスクラッチで作られた宇宙船。
If you're just now joining us, as you can see on your screen, Crew Dragon has made contact with
なるほど。
the International Space
ド
Station,
アが開かない。
and we're currently in progress
ドア
of
が吹き飛ぶ。皆さんボタンを
Endeavour
お忘
and
れなく。
Station MCS is
解説してく
configured,
ださって
proceeding
あ
with
りが
hook
たい
driving.
です。ありがとうございます。良いものを見せていただきました。ありがとうございます。ステーションにドッキングできる場所っていくつあるんだろう。新技術とこれ使い回すことでしょ。この中に
great timing
最
there.
大7人もいる
まあ
This is now the beginning of the
基
hard
本
capture
的には
sequence.
スペース X は
This
is where 12
ありもの技術で行こうっていうコンセプトだったので、
between Dragon and the space station, 6 hooks at a time. This will take a few minutes to complete.
That's right, that MCS
すごいですよね。
is just configuring the International Space Station's attitude control. It needed to be configured differently between a soft capture and hard capture sequence. So now that that's been confirmed, they can go ahead and press to drive the 12 hooks needed to confirm a hard capture. To reiterate, the Dragon had contact and capture with the space station at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern.
地球の影に入ります。
スターシップって100人も乗れるんですか？でもそのくらい乗せなかったらあれですよね。
皆さん、
ありがとうございます。
Space Station and Dragon crossing over the Terminator line,
いえいえ、
just
助かりま
south
す。
of Australia, about to
あり
head
がとうご
over
ざいます。
the South Pacific Ocean. Start seeing the views of Dragon get a
い
little
や、
bit dimmer
何回かあると
as
思
we
います
still
ね。
undergo the hard capture sequence.
これいつもNASA TV で流してるカメラじゃないですか。多分これキューポラから見てるカメラじゃないと思うんですよね。
中ばっかも一人計算なスパスパ宇宙ビジネスが盛んになっていきますね。ナイスパー。ルーさんナイスパです。野口さん山崎さんが ISS に同時にいました。
そうですね。
ナイスパー。ルーさんナイスパです。運用中の衛星
Alright, again, we're still undergoing the hard capture sequence. There's 12 hooks that drive to officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station, 6 of them driving currently.
11年ぶり。
Station attitude configured to support the hard capture sequence, now operating on control moment gyros
そ
to
うか。
maintain
山
attitude
崎さ
control
ん
during the hard
が
capture
行っ
sequence.
た時はまだシャトルでしたからね。
間に合った。
山崎さんの時は見てましたけど。
Alright, and we have confirmation the first set of hooks, all 6 have been driven. They look good. The second set are driving and are looking good at the anticipated speed. Halfway there.
いける。
This will take just a couple more minutes for hard capture to complete. As a reminder, after hard capture is complete, they do still have some more steps that they need to go through in order to ensure that
私物はある程度
the
許
space
されると
station
思うんで
and
すよ。
dragon are safe for crew ingress.
そもそも ISS にキー
There
ボ
will
ー
be
ドがある
a
って
hatch opening as the crew as well. The crew on board Dragon as well as the station will be walking through some procedures prior to ingress of the crew to crew on the International Space Station. But once they do ingress on the station, there will be a welcome ceremony.
ハンバーグが日本食なのは初めて聞きました。ペンギンだったみたいです。
ハンバーグが日本食なんですか？
重力センサー。ペンギン
Again,
には
half of the
は
hard
しごか
capture
な
hooks have been driven and locked into place. The second set of 6 hooks, 12 total, 6 of them driving.
止まったかな？
ペンギンだったんですね。ありがとうございます。
ペンギンだったんですか？
ペンギンだったんだね。宇宙ステーションのミールウォーマー
見逃しましたけど。
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Hard capture is complete. You are go to open visors.
今ドッキングラッチがかかって完全にドッキングしたので、宇宙服のバイザーを上げてもいいよという。
Alright, Crew Dragon Endeavour
から
officially made it
お
to
召
the
し替えタイム
International Space
開
Station.
始
That
です
dynamic period of the docking phase is complete. The crew inside Dragon have been wearing their suits just as an extra precaution, but they can go ahead and pull up their visors. It's going to be some time until the hatches themselves are open between Dragon and the International Space Station. Still some things to configure on that side. The vestibule on the International Docking Adapter that separates the hatches of Dragon and the International Space Station.
ですね、ちょっとわかりません、その辺が。ただ、ハッチオープンの時は多分切り替わると思うので、まあ一旦終わりますけど、また8時ぐらいにハッチオープンのライブが始まりますんで。
0G 人形派厳密にハ宇宙船の備品扱いらしい。だから機関時に持って帰る。
そうなんだ。
International Space Station Commander
中に4人い
Shannon
ますね。
Walker welcoming the crew. Now Crew 2 officially made it to the International Space Station. Again, it's going to be some time until they come
皆
in.
さんこんばんは。
But the commander of the
間
International
間に
Space
合って
Station
ません。
welcoming
もうドッキングしてしまいまし
new
た。
crew members for her expedition on board here shortly.
伝送の電池パック派最高。このまま火星周回向かいましょう。
ああ、夜になってしまった。
Alright, so again, there's a series of steps here as we enter into an orbital nighttime, completing the docking of Crew Dragon Endeavour
い
to
や、本当
the
に夜にな
International
る
Space
直前
Station
に
for a second time.
ドッキング、ラッチが完了ということで。
Capture
Oh,
occurring at
新
2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. We have a confirmed hard capture. The umbilical is in
今
motion
ここ
to
に
connect
こ
the station to the Dragon.
こにあるのがドラゴン。これは友人用じゃないと思いますけど、最初にテストしたドラゴンがここにぶら下がってます。今終わる今終わるとこでございます。
and the International Space Station.
トマト
It'll be the crew
スカ
inside
ハ
the
ペギー姉
station
さんに
getting
鍛
that
えら
ready
れ
to
て
be
たのが
opened.
懐かしいですね。
そうですね。
7人乗りで4
Endeavour
人だとちょっ
SpaceX
とだけゆっ
docking
たりで
sequence
す
is
ね。
complete.
へえ
Welcome to
残
the
念。
ISS.
カメラマンがすごい。
ドラゴンの中にあるスペース
あ、中の映像
X 完成
切り替わりました。もうバイザー上がってますね。
ため息しか出ない。地球波多かった。野口さんと星出さんの最初に交わす言葉派なんだ
Some
ろ
more
うね。
official words
あっ
that
という間
docking
に
is
夜です
complete.
ね。真っ赤
The
で暗
crew
く
must
な
be
る。
so excited
若葉子
to finally have
ドッ
arrived
キン
at
グま
the
でが
space
すごい映
station.
像だったか
Again,
ら
there
後で
is
見
some
て
more
ね。
steps that they
ア
will
ナウ
need
ンサーの
to
後ろにもある
complete
ね。素
and
晴
some
らしい
checks
瞬間を
before
ま
they
た見れ
can
て感動
ingress
しました。
on the space
へ
station.
ああ、中だ。
But the crew can now get out of their suits before moving into hatch operations. So now they can start to get
星出さん
comfortable
風呂入りたいだ
again.
ろうな。
They no longer need these suits now that they have arrived at the space station.
That's right. And so it'll be some time again until that
福和県化して
area
2週
between the
間このま
International
ま
Space
かな。
Station
星
and
出さんはど
are the
こ
hatches.
星出さん一番向こう側ですね。
あ、中だね。宇宙に行きたい。
ほとんどなん
SpaceX
か
copies. You are go to begin suit doffing and audio configuration. Procedure 4.012.
昨日からずっとこの姿勢だったのかな。これさん、アーカイブに残しますよ
So
ね。
again, it'll take some
残しますよ。
time. The crew will begin doffing or taking off their suits. It'll be some time to
この
repressurize
長
the
靴にしか
vestibule.
見えん。
Station side, astronauts on the
お、
station
も
side
う
configure the
脱ぎ
hatch.
にかかってる。
Getting ready to open that up and welcome the crew
一番
inside the
奥ですね。
International Space Station.
もうお召し替えタイム。あ、星出さんが今
Happen right on cue,
中継波
and
また
as
8時
expected,
過ぎ
座席からもう出ました。
the Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to the International Space Station once again. We've enjoyed it from here
や
in
っぱ
Mission
り
Control
スペ
Hawthorne,
ー
but
ス
to see
X7
how
人
things
星出さん、星出さん相変わらず早いな。
things as we work together
動き
to
が。
complete today's
手
operation.
袋脱
Let's
ぎ
go
脱
to Courtney Beasley for a refresher on what's ahead.
星出さん待ちきれずに
ぎ。窓際
ちゃっ
席。
ちゃともう椅子から抜け出しています。
Copy, thanks.
Thanks, Gary. It's great to see Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station. Even through the face masks, you can see and feel the excitement in the
この
room
スー
here
ツ
in
で
Mission
現在
Control
活動す
Houston.
るの。
Now that we're docked, Victor Glover is securing some hardware, and then he'll move right into hatch operations.
基本的に今のスーツでは外には出られませんね。
Giving him access inside the pressurized mating adapter. Then he will have to pressurize the vestibule, which is the small space between the hatches on Dragon and the space station. This was exposed to vacuum prior to
星
docking.
出さんは早いです
You'll
よ。
need to fill it with air and make sure its pressure is nearly equal with the atmospheric pressures on Dragon and the station. He will use a small valve on the station's hatch to slowly
ペ
introduce
スケイ
air
さん
into
は
the
ペギー姉
vestibule.
さんに鍛えら
And
れ、
flight controllers here
星
in
出さん
Houston
は
will monitor the pressure
サニー
and
タさんに
temperature
鍛えられ
readings
ているの
inside
で
and verify that
早いです
everything
とっ
is
ても
leak-free before we get ready to open up the hatches. We expect it to take about 2 hours to get everything pressurized and checked out before we open hatches. With Dragon successfully docked to the International Space Station, that's the latest from here in Mission Control Houston. And back to the
本
team
番
over in
破産
Hawthorne.
そってどうされてるんですか。
はい、そしたら一旦終了しまして、またドッキングの時間に
船長って端っこなのね。
お会いしましょう。あ、まだやってんな。
Things will be repressurizing the vestibule in between the hatches. There's a hatch called the A-Pass hatch. That's the hatch on the International Space Station side. And then there's the Dragon hatch itself. In between is a vestibule that's currently at vacuum. So in order to travel through both hatches, you need to repressurize that. Now that there's a hard mate between the two vehicles, they'll check the some leak checks as they're repressurizing the vestibule up to vacuum. And that will take some time.
SpaceX Endeavor, sound check on the cabin mic.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the cabin mic.
ありがとうございました。
はい。
ありがとうございました。星出さん早いって下ネタみたいに言わないでください。20時頃また見ます。ありがとうございました。またね。ありがとうございました。
はい。
みんなフックスやってそうなモニター。クレウニの船長ではなく ISS の船長になります。
また後ほど。
ありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。パチパチパチ。日本のおじさん、かっこいい。
感動の日本人ご対面がこの後ありますので、
これカンちゃんまたね。
はい、ではまた。
And we're able to pressurize them, and they held pressure throughout that sequence of today's flight until docking. Now they get to take it off. They get to stretch out, change into something a little bit more comfortable.
はい、また見てください。
いいねとチャンネル登録をお願いしますね。潜在派真空であるけれど、放射線もビュンビュン飛んでますから、船長になるのは ISS の船長だよ。ありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。また後ほどです。ありがとうございました。そうなんだ。
はい、また後ほど。
ドッキング配信ありがとうございました。また後でも一緒します。よろしくです。
よろしくお願いします。
こういう映像見るとドキドキするわアクティブへ。この後もまた見ますね。楽しみにしています。
はい、また
楽しみにしてます。
後ほど。
感動のご対面終わり？
終わりそうですね。
いやん、これちゃん大好き。ハッチが開くまで待ちですね。
はい。
ご対面楽しみです。ありがとうございました。また後ほど。
はい、ではまた後ほど。一旦終了します。また後ほどお会いしましょう。ではでは。